2 hours from where I live, there's a region called Cerdagne or Cerdagne, right between France and Spain. Winter in Cerdagne feels like stepping into a postcard. Cold air, rooftops covered in snow, and mountains stretching high into the sky. See, I lived in a very big city for a very long time, and I was looking for somewhere quiet to buy a very special house. And I had a few requirements, namely less than 2 hours drive from the border. It should also be a beautiful house that needs a little renovation, preferably in a peaceful village, which is a lot to ask these days. And if it has a little garden where the kids can play, even better. A house in the countryside, surrounded by peace and quiet. About 15,000 people live here. It's the kind of place where time slows down. It's the kind of cold that makes your breath visible, but not miserable. Smoke rises from chimneys, like the place is trying to remind you that people actually live here. It's quiet, it's cold, and somehow, it's exactly how it's supposed to be. So I packed a bag, got in the car and drove to southern France. A place I had heard was full of charm, affordable homes, and endless possibilities to see if the dream is as real as I hope. It must be. I first stopped in Porté-Puymorens, the first village after Pas de la Casa. Quite nice and sunny, with less than 1,000 people. It was literally empty on a Friday morning. Luckily, we found some beautiful horses and a baguette vending machine. I actually found a house for sale, this one, but it was too big. I called a woman who told me they were asking for 500,000 euros. The ground floor in this big house, right behind the car, used to be a shop for tobacco and alcohol, a classic in this border. And then I found this house. I wished it was for sale because it looks exactly like what I was looking for with that garden in front of it. Then some elders recommended that we visit the mairie, the city hall, which we did. And very nice ladies, they were kind enough to give me the phone number of the owner of another house for sale, nearby. Of course, everything is nearby in Porté. But he never picked up, nor returned the call. But we still found a house, which was, again, exactly like what we were looking for. I guess you get the point of what we're looking for by now. I left a message. And that's it. Those were the 2 houses for sale in Porté. The village was quite nice. The streets, pretty narrow. It probably gets full during the holidays. Later, I drove to the next village, Latour de Carol, which is a little nicer, a little bigger. Latour in French means the tower, but actually, there were 2. I find it pretty cool that you find some medieval towers and churches in those small towns in the middle of nowhere in France, or in this case, right in between. Right in between both villages, Porté and Latour. This one is Latour. Latour has at least a couple more thousand people and some shops. And I knew a real estate agent from the Spanish part of Cerdagne who was kind enough to show us the only available house for sale in the village. At least for the price we were looking for. Here is this one with a garden and a chicken coop. Big family house, not as sturdy as those stone houses from Porté or the Spanish part of Cerdagne, but with enough rooms to bring your squad or many friends, or a big family. Joseph was very kind. This house is going for around 350,000 euros. It has 7 or 8 rooms and this large living room with a pellet stove and a remodeled kitchen. This house can and was used for holiday rental for skiers, as we're not far from the ski slopes. They don't even ask you for a license in this part of France, which sounded a bit odd coming from the country with the most bureaucrats in the world, but hey, I guess it's one of the good things of buying real estate abroad. You learn new things. The house was simple but cozy, and right next to the firefighters station, which owns the containers you see out there. My favorite part was the big garage, which fits, 3-4 cars, and the garden, which had a lot of room to plant stuff, and a chicken coop right there in the back. So many square meters or square feet, good price, good location, ready to move in, and open for renovation. Nice garden, but too close to the main road, which I didn't like. We saw other very nice houses in Latour, but sadly not for sale, so I decided it was time to go back to the hotel and relax before the last visit the following day to the house that I thought was gonna be the one. Of course, I'm not buying a house anywhere without knowing what the food is like first. Cerdagne's food isn't fancy, but it's hearty and exactly what you want in the cold. Lots of cheese, lots of meats, grilled snails, and you're still in France, so there's champagne everywhere. I ate well and drank even better. Between Oseja, Saillagouse, and the Spanish town of Llivia, there's a beautiful small town called Sainte-Leocadíe. I was cycling around and it has views over the village, which are amazing, and there's nothing for sale except a huge farm that we found online, but that we didn't visit because it was obviously too big. We drove past it a little later, and I'm going to show you a few pictures of it because I think it's cool. This compound farm goes for about 965,000 euros. It has over 1,500 built meters and 20 rooms and like 9 hectares, I think, of land. But our destination was the biggest town in the area, Saillagouse, where we were expected for both lunch and visiting a very old tiny house. And this is it, the white one in the corner with the green windows. Enzo, the real estate agent, was very kind to show us this very, very challenging project of a house that had been empty for over 40 years. And it had this small living room with these nice views over Saillagouse, the village, orientation to the south, so you get a lot of sun, and this really, really old sink with a stove and a fireplace in which they used to cook. And then upstairs there was this room with a very short ceiling, this door which led to another property and was locked. Probably it was the same house before. These 2 windows, a very old cabinet, a toilet at the other side of that wall, and then the roof, which insulation I wanted to check, only to realize that I needed contractors, an expert's opinion on the cost of remodeling. There is an annex barn or small storage space. In this space you could fit in a couple of cars, but there was a possibility to open a door in the wall of the right here, which is next to the main house, and make it even bigger, especially because
you can go upstairs.
There was a lot of room to this roof, so you could even make a garage downstairs and another room upstairs.
Qui n'est pas habitable, je comprends.
I like the views, the quietness of the village. It's a really nice area. The price of this house was 80,000 euros for about 40 square meters, and then 60 potential square meters on the barn in 2 floors next door. The house is charming and it's been empty for the last 40 years, so it's not going anywhere. I'm gonna call a contractor on the French area of Cerdagne and keep you updated on the project. Even though I haven't found the house yet, this trip has reminded me why I started looking in the first place. Southern France, La Cerdagne, has so much to offer, and it's not just about the houses, but also the quiet lifestyle, the people, and the beauty of the mountains in the cold. So the dream isn't quite real yet, but we're getting closer. What do you think about the houses we saw, and which one will you choose? Let me know in the comments and subscribe if you want to stay updated. Thanks.